1975 was a year of heartbreak pressed into vinyl. While FM radio spun the obvious hits and top 40 stations played Elton John on repeat, there were love songs tucked between the classics that somehow slipped through the cracks. These weren't just album cuts, they were confessions, whispered through microphones in dimly lit studios, meant to last forever. Let's bring them back, starting with number 1. Number 10, Feelings by Morris Albert. You might think you know this one. It became inescapable later in the decade. But in 1975, when it first arrived from Brazil, it was a quiet whisper before the storm. Albert, a singer-songwriter from São Paulo, recorded the track with a simplicity that felt almost vulnerable. Piano, strings, and a voice that cracked just enough to feel real. The song peaked at number 6 on the Billboard Hot 100, but by most accounts it was already being dismissed by critics as overly sentimental. What they missed was the honesty. This wasn't polished pop, it was raw longing set to melody. Albert reportedly wrote it after a painful breakup, and you can hear every sleepless night in the way he holds that final note. Number 9, Wildfire by Michael Martin Murphey.
And the pony she named Wildfire.
This wasn't your typical love song, it was a ghost story wrapped in pedal steel and prairie wind. Murphy, a Texas-born folk country storyteller, crafted a ballad about a girl named Wildfire and the pony she loved, lost in a blizzard on the plains. It sounds like folklore, but the emotion was universal: love, loss, and the ghosts we carry. The song climbed to number 3 on the pop charts and dominated country radio. Critics noted its cinematic quality, the way it painted pictures with words. Murphy's voice was gentle, almost hypnotic, and the production, courtesy of Bob Johnston, who'd worked with Dylan and Cash, gave it space to breathe. It's been forgotten by mainstream playlists, but ask anyone who grew up on 70s AM radio, and they'll hum the chorus without hesitation. Number 8, Please Mr. Please by Olivia Newton-John.
Please, sister, please, don't make me 17.
Before she was Sandy in Grease, before physical took over the 80s, Newton-John was country pop royalty. This track, penned by John Rostill of The Shadows, told the story of a woman pleading with a jukebox operator not to play the song that reminds her of a lost love. It's a small, devastating moment, the kind that happens in truck stops and dive bars across America. Newton-John's delivery was restrained, almost conversational, and that's what made it hurt. The song hit number 3 on the pop charts and topped the country charts, but it never got the respect it deserved as a piece of pure emotional storytelling. By most accounts, it was overshadowed by her bigger crossover hits, but if you've ever asked a bartender to skip a song because it hurt too much, you know this one by heart. Number 7, Lady Blue by Leon Russell.
Listen real close to me, baby.
Russell was already a legend by 1975, a session man turned superstar, known for his raspy voice and honky-tonk piano. Lady Blue came from his album Will-O-the-Wisp, and it was a slow-burning torch song drenched in Southern soul. The production was lush, strings, backup singers, and Russell's gravelly voice cutting through like smoke in a dimly lit room. It peaked at number 14, modest by his standards, but critics noted its emotional weight. The song was about longing, about a woman who haunted the singer's memory, and Russell delivered it with the weariness of someone who lived it. It never became a classic rock staple, but it's the kind of song that stops you mid-breath when it comes on late at night. Number 6, Emma by Hot Chocolate.
Emma, Emily, I'm gonna write your name high on that.
This British soul pop band had already made waves with You Sexy Thing, but Emma was something different, a ballad about regret and longing. Lead singer Errol Brown wrote it as a narrative. A man bumps into an old flame and realizes what he lost. The production was smooth, layered with strings and a bass line that anchored the heartbreak. It reached number 8 in the UK and cracked the top 40 in the US, but it was largely forgotten in the rush of disco and glam. Brown's voice had a warmth that made every word feel personal, and the arrangement, reportedly crafted by producer Mickey Most, gave it a timeless quality. If you ever wondered what happened to the one who got away, this song knows the answer. If you're loving this trip through forgotten records, hit subscribe. We've got more stories from rock's golden age coming every week. Number 5, Rhinestone Cowboy by Glen Campbell.
Like a rhinestone cowboy.
Wait, forgotten? Hear us out. Yes, it was massive in 1975, hitting number 1 on both pop and country charts. But today, it's been reduced to a punchline, a karaoke standard stripped of its original power. Written by Larry Weiss, the song was about resilience, about a dreamer chasing stardom despite the odds. Campbell's voice, clear, confident, and achingly human, turned it into an anthem. The production, led by Dennis Lambert and Brian Potter, had that California sheen, but underneath was grit. Campbell reportedly identified with the lyrics deeply. He'd clawed his way up from poverty in Arkansas to become one of the most respected guitarists and vocalists in the business. The song deserves to be remembered not as kitsch, but as a genuine expression of hope against heartbreak. It's a love song to ambition, and it still hits if you let it. Number 4, Wasted Days and Wasted Nights by Freddy Fender.
Remember the day that you went away.
This Tex-Mex crooner had been grinding for years before this song changed everything. Fender, born Valdemar Huerta, recorded the track in a small studio in Texas, blending country twang with Latin rhythms and blues phrasing. His voice was weathered, full of lived experience. You could hear the honky-tonks and heartbreaks in every syllable. The song climbed to number 8 on the pop charts and dominated country radio, but Fender never quite broke into the mainstream consciousness the way his talent deserved. By most accounts, he was held back by industry gatekeepers who didn't know how to market a bilingual Chicano artist. But Wasted Days and Wasted Nights remains a masterclass in emotional delivery, a song about regret that feels like a late-night confession. It's been covered dozens of times, but nobody ever captured the original's ache. Number 3, How Long by Ace. This British pub rock band never became household names, but this song was pure gold. Written by bassist Paul Carrack, How Long was inspired by the discovery that a bandmate had been secretly playing sessions with another group. The lyrics worked as both a personal betrayal and a universal question about fidelity. Carrack's voice was soulful, almost Motown smooth, and the groove was effortless, piano, bass, and a guitar lick that shimmered like neon lights. The song peaked at number 3 in the US and became a staple on FM radio. But Ace couldn't sustain success. They broke up within a few years. Carrack went on to Front Squeeze and Mike Plus the Mechanics, but How Long remains his finest moment. It's the kind of song that feels like a secret between friends, intimate and devastating in equal measure. Number 2, Miracles by Jefferson Starship. By 1975, Jefferson Airplane had evolved into Starship, trading psychedelic edge for polished rock balladry. Miracles, written by Marty Balin, was the pinnacle of that transformation, a soaring love song with layered harmonies and a guitar solo that felt like flight. Balin reportedly wrote it for a romantic interest, and the sincerity showed. Grace Slick's backing vocals added texture, and the production overseen by Larry Cox gave it radio-friendly sheen without losing soul. The song climbed to number 3 and became one of their biggest hits, but it's rarely mentioned alongside White Rabbit or Somebody to Love. Maybe it was too soft for the counterculture crowd, too earnest for the cynics. But if you ever needed a song to describe the feeling of falling hopelessly in love, this was it. Pure, unguarded, and timeless. Number 1, At 17 by Janis Ian. This wasn't just a love song, it was a reckoning. Ian, only 24 when she wrote it, poured a lifetime of rejection and alienation into 4 minutes of stark, brutal honesty. The lyrics dissected teenage cruelty, beauty standards, and the lie that love comes easy for those who fit the mold. Ian's voice was conversational, almost matter-of-fact, which made the pain cut deeper. The arrangement was sparse, acoustic guitar, subtle strings, and space for every word to land. Produced by Brooks Arthur, the track felt intimate, like a diary entry set to music. It peaked at number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100, and won Ian a Grammy for Best Pop Vocal Performance. Critics called it a masterpiece of confessional songwriting. But outside of folk circles and classic rock deep cuts, it's been largely forgotten by mainstream radio. That's a tragedy, because At 17 is one of the most emotionally honest songs ever written about love, or the lack of it. It's a song for everyone who felt invisible, and decades later, it still speaks the truth. 1975 gave us more than just disco and arena rock. It gave us these 10 songs, each a small miracle of emotion and craft. They slipped through the cracks, overshadowed by bigger names and louder anthems, but if you listen closely, you can still hear the heartbreak, the hope, and the honesty that made them matter. These weren't just hits, they were moments frozen in vinyl, waiting to be rediscovered. Some love songs never die, they just wait for the right listener to press play again. Which song hit you hardest today? Drop your memories in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories from the decades that changed music forever.